Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen-Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, Andrew Bartolotta.
Welcome to the City Current Show, where we bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good in our community and around the globe. I'm Andrew Bartolotta, and today we're joined by Bob McBride, the owner of State Systems, a company that has become synonymous with fire safety and security. As they celebrate their recent expansion and decades of dedicated service, we'll explore the critical importance of fire protection for businesses, the sophisticated technology that keeps us safe, and the philanthropic efforts that define their community presence. So let's ignite this conversation and get an insider's look at the industry with Bob McBride. Bob, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Andrew. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. First, give us a brief history of State Systems and its mission in fire protection and safety.
State Systems started in 1986. My father and I purchased a company. Amazingly enough, it was called State Systems. It was a three-man organization when we purchased it, and felt like it would go well with some other business interests we had. And so at that point, we purchased it. My father, Robert McBride, actually managed and took care of the day-to-day business for the first several years while I was working in another business I had ownership in. But we were under the same roof, and through organic growth as well as some acquisitions strategically, we've grown to where we're at today.
And now let's talk about your recent acquisition of Dunk Fire and Security and Kaiser Fire Protection, and the service area in which you have at State Systems with decades-long experience and your recent expansion.
In 2016, we had grown the Memphis market significantly, and we started thinking about going to outside locations so we could continue our growth. We wanted to stay somewhat close to Memphis, and so we started looking 200 to 300 miles outside. So in 2016, we went to Columbia, Tennessee, and then to Conway, Arkansas, just outside of Little Rock, Huntsville, Alabama in 2019. And just this past January, this month, we'll say this past January, we bought two companies. One was Kaiser Fire Protection, which is based in Lexington, Tennessee. And we're already in that market area, but they have some wonderful customers in there. It gave us some great market penetration. Those customers were basically what we call our fire protection customers that are in our fire extinguisher, restaurant fire suppression systems division. Is what we're looking at there. And then a couple of days later, we went up to Northwest Arkansas into Springdale and purchased Dunk Fire and Security, which is a company that is multifaceted like us, very heavy into the low voltage facet of the business. Low voltage encompasses fire alarm, closed circuit TV, security, and then they had a strong sprinkler presence, the overhead fire sprinkler systems, and then also the extinguishers and kitchen suppression. So we had just entered the Springdale market in May of last year with another acquisition of a company that's based in Texas, but they had a presence in Little Rock and Springdale. And up until that time, we were not in Northwest Arkansas. So that put us in our fifth market. We have 6 offices, but we're in 5 markets. Memphis being the largest. We have 2 offices in the Nashville area, 1 in Huntsville, 1 in Little Rock, and 1 in Springdale. So have a large presence here in the Mid-South.
Definitely. So for our listeners, could you break down what fire protection services entail and why they're essential for businesses?
In fire protection, we say we're protecting life and properties. So there's 3 main categories of fire protection. One is the extinguisher and kitchen restaurant systems. So when you go into your favorite restaurant and they're cooking a meal over that stove or the grill, there's a suppression system that if there was a fire that occurred on the cooktop, that suppression system would discharge chemical onto the cooktop and extinguish the fire. Otherwise, without that, the fire extends up through the duct and eventually could burn down the entire building. So that's one of the main areas, extinguishers and kitchen suppression. The second is our fire alarm systems, something everyone is familiar with from their grade school days, going through grade school and elementary. You always had those pull stations right by the door. And so whenever there was a fire, we did the fire drills. But if there was ever a fire, you knew that the pull station was by any exit door. So we install and service and maintain fire alarms. And then the third facet of that is your overhead sprinkler systems. And that's taking the pipe, actually you can run it underground, and then it starts underground and hooks into the fire main at the street, and then comes up through the building. And what we see are the sprinkler heads that are in the ceilings. Most of them are concealed now, but if there's a fire in most public buildings of size, then those sprinkler heads will come off and discharge the water. And those are primarily there to extinguish the fire and protect life and the property, but it's to give the people time to get out. If there's a fire overnight in a building that was unoccupied, it would certainly preserve the building. On a fire alarm system, it's there to notify us. The smoke detectors go off, but it'll allows us to evacuate quickly with that. And of course, an extinguisher is there to put the fire out if you need it. So those are the three main facets of fire protection. And then also we have a pretty large security presence where we do structured cabling and also your access control systems for building entry and the surveillance with our closed circuit televisions.
Now talk about how state systems really contributes to fire safety education within the community.
We like to be an active partner in the community through our regular monthly email blast that goes out to our customers and prospective customers. We typically have an educational piece in there, and people can sign up for that online on our internet spot. We've also been a partner, contributing partner for years with the Memphis Fire Museum, which does a wonderful job of education. People of all ages can go into the museum, and we've had one of our key employees who's been on the board of the Fire Museum for many years now. But also the Fire Museum does a wonderful job of going into the schools and educating the children there on fire safety.
Well, I love how embedded state systems is within the community. You mentioned, of course, the Fire Museum of Memphis, which of course aligns perfectly with your mission at State Systems. You're also the board chair for SRVS and work alongside Kindred Place as well. So talk about the philanthropic efforts of State Systems and how embedded in the community you are with the service and encouraging employees to give back to their community as well.
We've always felt that it's important to be a part of the community, to give back. We want to take part of our profits and help with our philanthropic efforts. Obviously, you can't help everyone, but we've had some longstanding relationships with both SRVS and Kindred Place. Not only financially, but I've currently served as the board chair, as you mentioned, with SRVS, which is an organization that helps adults and children with intellectual disabilities. And then Kindred Place, their mission is help to curb child abuse and domestic violence. And those are our missions that are important to me personally. And as we share those in our organization, others within the organization have been able to get on board and help give back there, or we encourage them to give back to the charities of their choice and be involved in their community, in their own communities.
I love that because State Systems also is a longtime City Current partner as well. And so we've collaborated on many fronts, giving back to countless organizations, including the Fire Museum of Memphis, SRVS, and Kindred Place. So kudos to you and your team for making an effort to give back and impact our community. What advice would you give to a business seeking to improve its fire safety or security measures for the first time?
You take for granted that every business has to have a fire extinguisher. You cannot open your doors without a fire extinguisher. And then depending on the size of the business, you have to have other fire protection systems, whether it's a fire alarm or a sprinkler system. You take that for granted. In our business, we want you to take it for granted to an extent where we're servicing it. And so you shouldn't have to worry about it. Whoever your provider is, they should maintain it in good order. Fire extinguisher needs to be inspected annually. So you should be with the company that has that system set up where you don't have to worry about, are they going to be here next month to service that extinguisher? But from a new business owner, you need to know how those systems function. One thing we do with a fire extinguisher, for example, is show you how to use them. If there's any concern when we install a fire alarm system, we go through the training of the individuals. We can't train everybody unless the company wants that, but those that need to know where the pole stations are located, what the purpose of the fire alarm system is, how you're going to, we encourage them to set up an evacuation system, points of gathering, and then we can help with that training on whether it's training on the fire extinguishers or helping set up with the proper training on a fire alarm system.
How have you seen, working in this business for decades, how have you seen technology expand or enhance the fire protection, but also security safety protocols within different businesses throughout the years?
Fire protection has come a long way. An extinguisher is still an extinguisher, but how we deliver the product and go back with our customers is important for us. So the tracking of the maintenance on that, now we can with our routing systems and also the tracking of the devices, we can tell when certain maintenances are due and help the customer look 6 to 12 years out on certain maintenance points with a fire extinguisher, for example. On the fire alarm system, help them with their budgeting. They know year in and year out what the budget's going to be for the test inspection of those devices. And so there's routing, and there's also barcoding software that marks all the devices and allows us to come in and check each device. Also, the double check for us. So once we have everything barcoded, if you're a facility with 500 extinguishers, and I have the same technician, been doing that for 5 years, he can tell where everything is. But if he's ill that day and I have to send somebody else in there, that we know if we missed 1 or 2 extinguishers and exactly where that's at. So the barcoding, those programs today are extremely helpful. And many companies now in the industry are using those. On the security side, security changes. It's like our computer systems, or more like our cell phones. The CCTV access controls, there's new software releases regularly from high visibility cameras and the access controls that have entry and reentry devices and tracking, knows where the people are exactly inside the building. Although with our healthcare, we can track exactly where a patient is inside a building if need be for the wander care. But on the security side, the easy egress, and the exiting of employees is very helpful. And so things have come a long way in the past 10 or 15 years.
Lastly, for businesses interested in enhancing their fire or security safety protocols, how can they reach out to state systems for a consultation and work with you?
The easiest way is through our website at statesystemsinc.com. Or pick up the phone and call us at 901-542-0612.
Well, Bob, thank you so much for reminding us that being proactive about fire and security protection it's not just a business decision, but it's a commitment to the safety and well-being of our communities. Thank you, Bob, for coming on the show, for powering the good in our community and around the globe. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Appreciate the opportunity, Andrew. Thank you so much.